Hello guys, welcome to my tutorial series for how to create Rayman. I'm not sure how many episodes this will be, but this will go over creating an entire Rayman platformer from scratch. Uh, anyway, let's get started. Let's start organizing our content folder. So we'll have a models, a blueprints, and I guess this isn't required just yet, but a sound effects folder as well. So inside the models, we're going to want to create a characters folder and a items folder. Inside the items, we're going to want to do lums. And inside of here, we're going to want to do Rayman. Alright, back to the items and lums. I will be providing a downloadable compressed folder that will have both Rayman and the Lum files. Alright, let's get these imported, import animations. Alright, we'll screw with everything else later. First I'm gonna import it into scene and see how big it is, because I hate screwing with these the scale stuff inside of Blender to get it right. Alright, let's see what would look right. Oops. Turn the lock on, or turn it back off. Alright, turn lock on and see what'll look right. Alright, I think 0.2 is good. Alright, we can go into here and go to import settings, transform, import uniform scale, do 0.2. Alright, now we got the proper scale for the lum. Might make it a little bit smaller later, but for now that's good. Alright, we're going to want to take both the animations that were imported with it, asset actions, and bulk edit via property matrix. I'm going to go to import settings, transform, and we're going to change the import uniform scale to 20. What is it trying to save? Alright, there we go. And then we're going to re-import both of these. And should be working now. Alright, it is. Now that we got that working, we'll need to do some edits to our material so it doesn't look like hot garbage. Get rid of that. We don't need two textures in here. Plug this into the opacity and make it a translucent. And we're going to want to have a brightness scale. Oops. Alright, by default, I think I'm going to do 5. Need to get a higher res texture for this, but for now this works. We're going to want to turn this on two-sided and apply. Go back into here to shaders compile. It should be nice and dandy. Alright, Now we gotta work on the center. The center is separate from the other part because we need this to track the camera to actually look good, but for now we're not going to do that. It'll be possibly in the next tutorial. Alright, after this compiles, should look alright. Alright, yeah. There is our yellow lum. We're actually going to want to, I don't know why there's so many of those. Okay, it looks like that was using one. Let's go back in here and do kill them. Actually, another thing we're going to want to do is convert these to parameters for later use. Name this more relevant to the lum than just texture. After Unreal saves its packages. Alright. Type. Guess I'll do that because it makes sense. With the lum folder, there will be the yellow lum, red lum, green lum, and blue lum. Because later in the series we will do respawning. We will do respawning, obviously a health system, and a swimming system. Alright. That's... Alright. I think we're good. We're going to want to quickly turn the other texture in here into a parameter. Alright. Now you can create instances and have different types of lum. Alright. Now that that is all done, we're going to import Rayman. This comes with running, walking, idle, jump, fall, land, and hover animations. We're going to have to do the same thing we did with the lum on import and check what scale it would look best at, yada yada. I just don't take time to mess with the scaling in Blender because I also like animate with scale, squash and stretch a lot, so that ends up, like if I want to like apply the scale of the armature to get it to import to the correct scale, now all my animations are broken and not going to be working properly. Alright. Actually, we may not need to mess with this a whole lot. Okay, so luckily enough, I did properly export this one. So we only need to mess with this and scale it down to what we would think would look good. So let's quickly go grab the lum and scale accordingly. Alright, that's already... Alright. Alright, I think 0.5, and I think the lum scale a little bit downward. But 0.5 works for Rayman here, so we're going to bring this back over here. And we're going to do that. Alright, now that we got him properly imported, we'll have to mess with his materials. And after that we'll be golden. Alright, there's those two things. Drop those into textures, drop these into materials, drop these into drop these into animation. Inside of animation, we're going to create actions, which is these, and blend spaces. There'll be multiple blend spaces for his different movement types. For now, it's just going to be normal on-ground movement. And blueprint. Animation. BP. Alright. Now that we got that all settled, let's go get his materials going. Alright. All we want for this one is to get rid of the specularity. We also want to bring in the normal map, which I forgot to bring in. This will be provided with the textures. You'll have to import it yourself because I did not export the FBX with the normal map. So we're going to want to actually, first off, we're going to want to rename this because it's a stupid name. This isn't too good of a name either, but at least it's recognizable. Type in Rayman, boom. Alright, now he's got a normal map. And no specularities, so that should look good now. Now the hair. This one's a bit different. We want it to have translucence. And we're going to want it to be two-sided. This will probably look like garbage, though. Let's quickly take a look at... Actually, that looks better than I expected. So we're good with that. Does everything else look alright? We're not doing attacking this video. I think that's next video I have that planned for. But we already have that animation, so you won't have to worry about downloading it next video or anything. Alright, make sure there's no errors with any of the animations. Everything's looking nice so far, and that's the default, so how's the fall looking? Alright, yeah, we are ready to go. First off, let's set up his blend space. Animations, blend space 1D, and call it BS. Rayman. Actually, BS gray default. Since we'll have more later. Well, we'll have one more, and that'll be for swimming. Alright, let's pull in the idle animation, and he is much, much bigger. Well, that's not very cool. Okay. Guess I forgot to do that. Alright, asset actions, bolt, get it, and import settings, asset import data, transform, import uniform scale, and we'll put 0.5 in there. Save those, and re-import. This Rayman is going to be tiny after this re-import. Alright, well this is importing. I'm going to pause and come back when it's finished. Alright, we are back and the animations are imported. Alright, there we go. Quickly get rid of that. Bring back the blend space. Oops. Anyway, there's this idle animation, walk animation, and then run. I should probably make a jog animation so something like this isn't happening, but I guess it really doesn't matter right now. Alright, I'm gonna call the horizontal access speed, set that to 600 because that'll be the max speed he can go at. Yeah, I think I'll bring in a jog animation for the exported model, so y'all don't have to have that going on. Alright, let's set up his blueprint now. Animation blueprint. Alright, ABP Rayman. I don't think we're going to be changing out his animation blueprint at a point, so this one can just be called that. For now, we're going to have one state machine. This will be the default, I guess, on ground state. And inside here, we're going to add a state. We're just going to call this movement. And inside that, we're going to get the BS Ray default. Plug that in, drag out of here, and get a speed variable. Use for later. We're going to go into the event graph. We're going to drag out of here and call is valid. The get the function instead of the bool check, so we can put it in the flow. Alright, after this we're going to pull out get velocity out of the owner, and we're going to want to do length XY, because we're going to be doing a speed check for his land animation. If he's moving, we don't want him to play the land animation when he lands. Instead, we want him to go straight into a run. So if we had length of all X, Y, and Z, that would constantly fail. He'd never have his default land animation. Alright, we got that now. And we're going to have to actually pull a... well, too bad we don't have a character right now, so we can't really mess with that. Let's actually start getting that in. Alright, going to input, we're going to want I'm just going to set up all the inputs we'll need throughout the series. So we're going to want a jump, we're going to want a attack. I'm not doing Rayman 3 stuff. I'm using Rayman 3 models and textures, but I'm pretty much making a Rayman 2 with Rayman 3 stuff. So, we're not going to do the advanced combat from Rayman 3, just to make it simple. Alright, I'm gonna call this so it stops putting me into a save prompt every time I try to save something else. Alright, axis mappings, we're gonna want a move forward. We're gonna have W and S. And we're gonna set that to -1. Then we're gonna want a move right. We're gonna want a D and an A. Alright, and that we're gonna want -1. Alright. This will have camera horizontal, and this will be mouse X. Then we'll want camera vertical, and we're gonna want mouse Y. Oops. Mouse Y on that. Alright, now you control or now we have all the mappings we're going to need throughout the series. And I think this, well, I guess we can set up the rest of this so there's no confusion. Is an air. Alright. Jump. I'm actually going to set up another thing. We're going to grab out of this and we're going to get we're actually going to get the link. Actually, best not. We're going to want to break this and then get this. Rename that from Z to Z speed. I'm going to change this to being XY speed. Alright, now that we have that, we can check if Z speed is greater than 0. And actually, we don't even need to check that. I don't know if we don't really necessarily need the is an air since we have Z speed. Now we're going to want to do a add state. Oops. Falling. Side falling, we're going to be, oops. Time remaining, that's what we want. I'm going to forget one thing in here, other than, you know, actually adding our animation in. The animation is jump. We actually want to turn loop off. Alright, now we're going to have going here, and we're going to get time remaining. And we'll get that. We're going to say less than 0.14. Alright, it works. And I want to get the falling, oops, fall is what it's called. This one we keep as looping, so now, oops. Alright, perfect. Now we'll go into the land state. If I'm gonna want the but we're going to go into that state if Z speed is 0 or around 0, and if I'm gonna do nearly equal for this, but we're gonna want to check if it's nearly 0, and if it is, this will play, but we also need to check if XYZ is nearly, we're just gonna say less than or equal to about 50 maybe. Gonna want to pull an and out and plug that in here. So now I should be able to type that in. He goes falling, and boom. And then after land, it'll go back to here. Now we're going to use an or with this one. First off, we're going to say, oh, as he started moving again, if he's started moving greater than 50, we'll go straight into the movement. Else, we'll check time remaining. And of course, we're going to want to get less than equal to 0.14. Actually, let's put it at 0.05 maybe. We may be able to do that with this too. Get more of the animation actually playing. Alright, yeah. And we set this to 0. Alright, perfect. He's working. Woohoo. Now we're going to want another variable, and we're going to call it is hovering. And he can only hover from a couple states, and that's his start jump and falling. This would be like directly after you jump, you decide to hit space again and start hovering. This would be if this state's already finished playing and he's now in his falling state. He will now decide to go into the hover state. So we're just gonna pull is hovering in here. That's all we need for this. Perfect. Now we're going to go in here and do hover. Alright, now the only state he can go to from here is hover and land. Alright, but if it's in here, his Z speed would be nearly equal to 0. Which would set his is hovering to be false anyway. This would be just if he's not in hovering. I guess we should also do a check to see if that is, well, less than 0 because he'd be falling in that state. Right, yeah, this is the same as this, but if he is actually moving when he lands. Alright, we need this to be greater than, alright, greater than 50. There we go. So now I should be able to put like, I don't know, 600 in here. When he's in his running state, then he decides, wahoo, let's jump. He goes into here, but then he can go start hovering. And then all of a sudden Z speed is back to 0. Alright, cool, everything works. Alright, now that we got this all set up and doing alright, we can go into our blueprints. We'll create a controllers folder and we will create a character. Call this BP Rayman. And in here we'll create a game modes. This will be game mode blueprint, just be called platformer. side here, we're gonna want to change the I hate when it opens up like that. We're gonna want to change the player controller, or no, not the player controller, the pawn. We're gonna change that to BP Rayman. Compile, save, close. And project settings, we're gonna go to map and modes. We're gonna want to change this game mode base to be the game mode we just created. So now when we spawn in, we shouldn't have any control whatsoever. Cool. Alright, now we're going to go into here, and the mesh, we're going to change that to be Rayman. And we're going to drag that down, rotate him 90 degrees. I want to make sure I am not seeing a floating Rayman. So the snap size is 1, and there we go. Anyway, now that we got that, we can select his blueprint. Now he will animate, and now we can actually start making the player controller. We don't need any of that for now. We will need move. Oh, well, quickly, we should actually probably give him his camera, a spring arm, and a camera. Since there will be a first-person look-around mode, I'm naming this third-person camera. Alright. Let's see, about 500 with that. Alright, now that we have that, we can quickly test, and yeah, that's looking good. Alright, now we're going to want move forward, and we're going to want to add movement input, and we're going to want to oops. I want to do the same thing with that. Alright, now for the world direction. This is, if you didn't want to start from scratch, you can just use the third person and template and skip through all this, but I really think going through how to make something like this for scratch really gives you an appreciation of how it works. So that's why I decided to do that on this tutorial. Anyway, we're going to want to get the rotation. Damn it, what is it? Pawn rotation. Get control rotation, that's what it is. And we're going to want to get forward vector. Actually, we're going to, first off, we're going to want to break this. So if we look down, we don't end up completely like halting, because the forward vector would be staring at the ground. Anyway, we're going to want to make rotator. And ignore that train in the background if you can hear it. Just live in a small town. Alright, now we can do get forward vector and get right vector. Alright, now that we got that, Rayman should be movable. Yep. And there's a lum in the way. But now that Rayman is movable, we can comment this, call it movement. Now we can get, I'm actually going to just in case I need to use it at any point. Probably won't need to, but if we do need to, I'm just gonna have this collapse as a macro. Anyway, Alright. That also helps us keep that a little more tidy. Alright, now that we get that, we can get the camera horizontal. And I'm always really bad at this, so rotation. I think it's yeah. I'm really bad at remembering. Okay, yeah. I need to fix that, but so far it's good. We don't want control rotation. We don't want that. The only time we will want that is when we add swimming. Alright, now that we have that going, Rayman should actually work properly. Yep. We actually need to now orient his rotation to, and that's in here. Yeah, there we go. Alright, cool. Now we need to get camera vertical. It's our mouse Y, and we're going to add controller pitch. We can add a little, oops, I did not mean to do that. I meant to actually add a multiply and set it in here. So now we can set it to a variable and call it invert. Oops. And call it invert. Compile it so we can set it to 1. And we're going to put this into control. Alright, now we should be able to fully move the camera around. Alright. Now that that's working, we can add the jump. Now that this is very basic stuff, but this is sort of a beginner tutorial on how to make a platformer, just to make a platformer from scratch, but using Rayman as base because I like Rayman. That's the only reason. Alright, now we're gonna do, oops, I guess we can keep that. Alright. Uh-oh, what just happened there? Oh well. We're going to want to turn up his gravity scale so it has a heavier feel. And then we're going to want to mess with the jump stuff. So in here, let's pump that up to 600. Air control, put it to 1. Lateral friction, let's put that to about 25. And I think we should be golden with that. Alright. We have proper platformer controls now. I guess we can just ignore that little animation hiccup for now. I think that's probably the idle animation finishing. Yeah, alright, let's... Or not the idle, the land animation finishing, so let's quickly go into animations. Animation BP, open that up real quick. Let's back over here. And inside of land, we can, if Z speed decides to go back above 0. So now, theoretically, we should not have such a problem. Feel free to make your own animations. Like, I know these aren't the best, but made them like an hour before starting this tutorial, so I could actually have something to show for everyone. Anyway, now that we have that done, we can now add his hovering. Alright, so what we want to do with that, we want to create a custom event, and we'll call this event start gliding. Actually, we'll just call it event glide. And inside here, we're actually going to want to, alright, hold on just a second. I think I'm going to, I might show two methods of this. I'm going to, instead of toggle here, I'm going to do hold here, so you have to hold the jump button to keep it going. Well, once you press it once, that is. So, let's do a branch. Inside here, we'll check if he is falling. Alright, we'll check if he is falling. If so, we'll start timer. Set timer, I mean. We'll set timer by function name. We'll call it event glide. And our time will be 0.01. We'll start looping it. But if you release the key, we will pause timer by function name. We'll also create a variable in here called be gliding, or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to set that to true. And here we'll set it to false. Alright, now that we got that, we can type in the function name in here, event glide. Alright, cool. Now in here, we're actually going to want to do launch character. We're going to want to do a Z override, and we're going to want to do, oops, negative 100. I don't know, depends on what you want. Oh. Interesting. That should not be doing that. Oh, wait, that's why. Oops. You know, we'll just take a not boolean and plug that in. Problem solved. Alright. So it works, but you'll see that there's a shakiness just because it's still trying to launch him down when he lands, so we're going to want to do an event on landed to pretty much just repeat this. You may want to set up events that get called instead of just putting into here. That way you can keep it clean. What? Oh. I did not put the T in the function name for that, so it was looking for a function that didn't even exist. Anyway, now that we got that working, right? Alright, yeah, it's working now. Alright, now that that's working, we can go back into here and we can now cast to BP Rayman. We'll convert this to a pure cast since this should always work. And we're going to get gliding. Alright, now that we have that, alright, woohoo. We got a fully controllable Rayman with animations and whatnot. And to wrap this tutorial up, we'll be adding in lums. So let's give Rayman a lum counter. And oops, why did I set that as a vector? Alright, that'll be 0. Oh, wait, oops. I'm inside his animation blueprint. Oopsies. Alright. Lum counter. And in that we will have nothing for now. Oops. Let's select all this, and I don't know what the hell just happened there. Anyway, call this jumping and gliding. Alright, and we can save a little space by dragging these upward. Oh, yeah, I forgot one thing that I like to do with platformers. We're going to create another quick little custom event, and we're going to call this platformer gravity. What this basically is going to do is every time you jump, this will get called, and it just sets your gravity from whatever it starts at, which will be 2. And a timeline that it does, it will set your gravity all the way to, I don't know, whatever you want to set it. I'm gonna do from 2 to like 8 maybe. We'll see. We'll test some numbers out and see. Alright, we're gonna want to play from start. And we're going to want to set gravity scale. And we're going to want to open this up, do a float, call it gravity scale. And the length will be about 1.6, or 0.56, I think. And we'll want to add 3. This one will be at 0, its value will be 2. And let's zoom this to view. This will be at the 0.56 mark. And the value will be, let's say, 7. And this will be some in between. We're going to right click this and put it to auto. Same with this. That way we can have a nice ending curve. Alright. Now that we have that, we can go into this and we'll call platformer gravity. Alright, now that we have that, let's quickly test that out and see how it feels. I forgot to plug in gravity scale. Alright, that feels nice. We're gonna have to up Rayman's jump velocity, but other than that, that's working nice. And one more thing to finish this off is in our on landed event, we're going to want to set the gravity back to 2. Just in case you like walk off an edge or something where he's not actually jumping, but instead falling, so he doesn't have a. So he's not already like falling extremely fast. Now that we have that set, let's quickly change this to something like 800. And quick little test. Alright, sweet. We got a Rayman going. One thing that is sort of bothering me is his rotation speed. Way too slow for me. Yeah, that's much more like it. Alright, nice. This feels good. Alright, now that we got that, we can close out of these two and go into blueprints and add another call it items. We'll just call this BP collectible. And inside here, we're going to add a skeletal mesh. I'm going to call this the collectible. We're going to add a sphere collision. Default collectible will be the lum. We're gonna want to make sure the collision on this is turned off. Okay, it is. I'm actually gonna move this down instead of moving the sphere collision up. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, there we go. That's what I meant to have it as. I think we're golden. Oops, sorry, I guess not. That looks good. Alright, and this will be the destroy radius. I should probably call it collect radius. This is the radius that gets, when this gets hit, the item actually does what it's, supposed to. And this one is the follow radius. And this one, well, I don't know. Let's quickly pop this in here. And let's see. Alright, that's good. Let's round that up because I don't like looking at decimals. Alright. We're gonna want it on Komodo begin hit, and I think this is the only one that will actually have this. We're gonna keep that empty because each collectible will have its own collect event. We will call it from here though. We're gonna want to check. Oops. We're gonna want to check if this is the player pod, and if it is, collect. Actually, I like having event in front of the other stuff. Anyway, if that's true, we will do event collect. Alright, now that that is wrote, we're going to make another, and we're going to call this event go to target. And put a comment over that. And what we're going to want to do is pretty much copy and paste this exact setup. Oops, other actor. And pull that out. So just use the same get player pawn. Alright. Now we call that go to. We will start timer. Oops. Set timer by function name. Alright. We'll put that 0.01. We will do looping and we will call this, or we will copy and paste our go to target event. Alright, sorry about that little cut there. I was getting a headache. Anyway, back to this. We're going to want to set actor location to I want to pass in the actor here. Call that target. Fuck, that's right. Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? We can just, I guess we'll just do this. I didn't want to do that, but we'll do it. Actor location, and we're going to want to get this actor's location. And they're going to want to do a V interp. It's not a B interp, a V interp. V interp 2, plug that in there. Our current is that. Our target is this. We're going to want to quickly set up a tick event and get the delta time out of it. Alright. I'm going to plug that into delta time. Interrupt speed will say about we'll do about 0.9, 0.8. Yeah. And alright. The reason we're not setting up this collect event just yet is because we're going to override that in instances. I think this should work. Yeah, it does. It's very slow though. Also, let's quickly set the default default thing so we're not looking at a static lum. Looks much better. Right, yeah. You can mess around with the speed all you want. I'm going to probably set it to something like 1.9. Hell, you can even, if you want to, just drag it out and make it a variable. So I'm gonna do, you know what, let's make it 2. I think that's more in tune with what it should be like. Alright, maybe 3 or something. Alright. Now that we have that, we can quickly create an instance, or a child blueprint. I mean, not an instance. I've been saying instance this entire time. BP yellow lum. And we're just gonna wanna go in here, go into this, and we don't have any there. We're going to get the event collect. We're gonna, oops. Going to want to add that, not call it. And here we're going to want to get player pawn. Actually, I'm going to quickly, so you don't have to get player pawn. Instead, you just have to I know only the player can hit this, but I do like setting it up like this so I can actually get a one-time reference instead of getting pulling out the get pawn. Alright, set here, we're going to want to plug that in. Now we're going to want to cast to third party. Oops. I am not using the template. As Rayman, we're going to want to set lum counter to lum counter plus variables. I'm going to call this int value. Change that to an integer, plug it into there, plug that into there. Then after that finishes, we're going to do destroy actor. And by default, it'll be 1. Alright, now that we got that, I'm actually going to go back into the base and extend this just a wee bit. Alright. Now that everything is saved, we can delete the default collectible and bring in the yellow lum, which is hard to see with that backdrop, but now we can collect it. Woohoo! That's the end of this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for any future tutorial series, let me know. Anyway, that's it. See you guys.